Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Brian if you happen to be new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, you freaking legend. That's what you get for subscribing, by the way. Free compliments at the start of these videos. Now, this video is going to be focusing in on kind of a translation guide, a migration guide. If you are like me and have a vast experience with Final Fantasy, maybe even World of Warcraft, this might be a guide for you in how to kind of start understanding some of the things going on in New World. I think New World is an incredible experience. It offers the sand park methodology. Now, that is a blending of sandbox and theme park MMORPGs, and so there's things that you might immediately understand, but there might be a few things that kind of catch you off guard. So it's the goal of this video to really help kind of break it down, make it less mysterious. And we're gonna have some fun with that. So I thought the first thing to kind of talk about in this video is actually kind of the patch schedule. When do updates happen for this game? What can you expect in terms of your money for game time? And New World does not have a subscription fee. In fact, it also has no pay to win. It does have a cash shop, and I'll show you the items in which that you can check out within the cash shop because everybody's gonna have kind of their line, right? And for me, I think they have a really player focused monetization model in which that you buy the game, you play the game, and you can always come back to the game. So if you've purchased New World and you maybe haven't played it in a year, a lot has changed, but one of the best things that hasn't changed is how they monetize the game itself, and that I think is a real big perk. But overall, the patch schedule tends to kind of be like this right now. I am expecting some changes. I'll update you guys how that flows out. But first and foremost, it's usually the bigger patches are like every other month, and then you kind of have, a kind of a monthly patch in which that, maybe some features, some things come in. But we just had a really big update with the Brimstone Sands release in October. We've got more things like leaderboards and crossplay coming along the way here in the future, and I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date here, but also over Ginger Gaming World. It's my New World focused channel in which that's where you're going to see all the news. That's where you're going to see so many more detailed guides and more. Anyway, check out Ginger Gaming World if you want more New World content in your feed. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get you into the game itself. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. First and foremost, right at the time of this recording, you can have 2 character slots and they cannot be on the same world. With November 2nd, you're actually going to have access to 3 character slots, and there's going to be a concept of what's called a fresh start server, meaning no transfers, everybody's starting over from scratch. The only disadvantage that you will have with a fresh start server is that players really understand this game. Players know where certain things are to be found, so there's not necessarily this greater mystery. You might find some mystery in a fresh start server, but there's probably going to be a lot of players competing to try and take over the world itself. When it comes down to the worlds that you have to choose from, you have the concept of regions. Here are the regions listed right now: AP Southwest, SA East, US West, US East, and EU Central. Those are the regions. We currently don't have basically an Asian region, but you can see right now for US East, that's where I play. And then you have a handful of servers. Within the server structure itself, you can see a listing here and you'll see the population listed from medium, low, etc. If they're locked and you can't transfer, you'll see that as well. So we play on Orofina. Now just note for that server itself, transfers have been enabled and disabled. And we actually just had a whole round of people able to come and join the server. So if you get on Orofina and you want to play with us, check the link in the description for the Discord, hop on in, and we play every Friday night. And it's a blast. We have a really good time. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the game itself, and we're gonna talk about the systems and what you need to know with this game. Diving into the game itself, I play New World on a controller. In fact, if you guys are interested in my controller guides, I post those over at Ginger Gaming World. I'll include a link to my updated guide below. Now, I'm constantly refining these guides, and we do know native controller support is on the list to make its way into the game itself. I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date when that happens. Now, maybe that does mean we'll see console play at some point. Again, I think this game would be excellent to have on console as well, but that's another subject for another day. When it comes to the game itself, kind of its core gameplay loop, New World is a game where the end game begins at level 1. When you start to think about that mentality, there is an MSQ for those of you coming from Final Fantasy XIV, the main story quest, and right now at the time of this recording, there's a couple of things you need to know about it. It kicks off from 1 to 25, and they do a really great job. We're talking about cutscenes, we're talking some animated cutscenes, voice narration, and story that has you go all the way to 25. They're going to be working on the next section going from like 26 maybe to 60, and at 60 they have the Brimstone Sands storyline that's going on as well, and there's a lot to be excited about with that. All right, so let's go ahead and start. I want to talk about a little bit about controller support. New World offers it through Steam. In fact, I actually have a Steam profile and a controller guide that I post over at Ginger World Gaming. I'll include a link in the description for you guys, so if you're wanting to play like me and play on a controller. Now, the good news is full controller support is on the list. Scott, the game's director, talked about having that added apparently after the loadout system being added into the game, so there is really good hope. Now, in terms of the base that likes glamour, likes that system in Final Fantasy XIV, there really isn't that outside the cash shop. So let's go ahead and jump into the cash shop specifically to show you that right now at this time, the glamour game is a as a cash out game. There are glamours that you unlock via Twitch drops. There are glamours that you unlock, like you can see here, that's a part of like the Halloween event, but the vast majority of it is driven from the cash shop. So I'm going to take you guys through this so that way you see exactly what is all available and how this functions. Now, it's important to note that Scott also confirmed that transmog is coming. So for those of you who are looking forward to that kind of system, we'll explore that in future videos and more breakdowns down the road. But overall, you can kind of see here what the cash shop offers. In terms of consumables for dying, this is where you can kind of see those. I am a sucker for emotes, and so I've collected each and every emote in this game. You can see a wide range of variety of skins for your gear. Some of these are available for a limited time, and you'll see how long they're available with the day countdown. Same thing goes for weapon skins, various housing items, tool skins, various camp skins, company crests. You can see how things get bundled up, and character transfers. Now, I have free character transfers right now. You get 2 free tokens if you originally played the game. If you haven't played in a while, you might have 1 free transfer token, but they're not going to be issuing out any more free transfers, at least for the foreseeable future. So that's essentially where the glamour comes from. And then ultimately, if you wanted to apply said glamour, you can always right click and then you can click on change skin, and you'll see a wide range of what you've unlocked or what is still available for purchase, and it will let you preview that as well. So that's the current transmog or glamour game, so to speak. Now, again, like I say, I play on controller. I think that's something important for y'all to know. When it comes down to the kind of the core loop of the game, what you can experience right now, there is an MSQ. So for Final Fantasy XIV players, there is a story that's going to take you from 1 to 25 that has just been brought in as a part of the new player experience. Everything I hear from players who took a break and have come back and have experienced that has been absolutely positive with their experience, which makes me excited. I've been playing through the Brimstone Sands quote unquote expansion. Don't necessarily like the term, but we got a whole new zone, and there is a MSQ that's taking you through the zone, talking about the story and the characters of this, diving into the lore and history of the ancients, which is something that I'm actually really enjoying as well. I'm going to put a review up down the road here later on the channel, but overall the core gameplay loop exists in that same mindset. You do quests, you have a varying different things that you can do within each zone. You can see your various different levels within the zone. So you level up your character, you level up your weapons, you unlock your skills, you level up your zone, you make money, you craft, and you gather. I've always stated that the end game for a New World begins at level 1. That means that everything you're doing is having a positive impact on your game and your experience. I cannot state that enough. If you think about that mindset when stepping into this game, as opposed to like having to rush to 60 to enjoy the end game or to get to the end game, you're going to find yourself actually at a disadvantage. And so if I pull up my character screen and go into my weapon mastery or my trade skill mastery, you level up your weapons up to level 20. I'm advocating that post level 20 there's some kind of mastery system, so that's feedback that I keep giving the devs, and the same thing kind of goes with trade skills. Now you can see here I've invested way more into my trade skills than anything else. I really enjoy fishing. You can see what this symbol means. It's that I've already hit level cap, and the current level cap is 200 within the trade skills, and then once you hit that, you go into kind of a post leveling experience called aptitude, where every quarter or 1/3 of a level gets you some gets you some gypsum, which is a use for your pushing up expertise. We'll talk about expertise in here in a second. But also rewards you with materials and things like that. So you're never letting XP hit the floor when it comes to your trade skills. You do let XP hit the floor when it comes to weapon mastery and your character level, and hopefully we'll see that happen, upgrade down the road. Now, when you hit level 60, you're going to unlock what's called the expertise system. I have a detailed guide on how you push up your expertise with, in a level of enjoyment, but your expertise is capped. It starts off at 500, and you could push it up to 625, being a wide range of methods, and going into your weapon mastery, you can actually see what your expertise is on each and every weapon that you have available. I think my current highest is my life staff because I'm playing a healer. But these are also a good opportunity for me to talk about the weapons in the game. In Final Fantasy XIV, you have jobs that kind of branch off of classes, but in this game, you have a free form flow of builds that you get to choose from. You get 2 weapons to pick at any one time that you want to equip, and within those weapons, you can easily focus in on and mastering various different skills and more. When you get to level 20, you're going to get the most max of points, and you can pick a left side, right side, hybrid side of various skills, which you can see the skills listed here. There are 6 skills per weapon, and you can have 3 at any time, but you can equip up to 2 different weapons to have kind of ultimately 6 different skills to choose from. Now, if I swap my weapon, you can see here how it changes in the UI. You have a couple of options to play around with. And now, as a part of the game, once you hit level 60, you unlock what's called kind of like your heart rune system, in which right now I'm currently rocking a cannon, and you can get these heart rune gems that will allow you to have special extra abilities that kind of really define your class. And so that is how essentially your class is defined on the weapon side. On the gearing side, obviously stats really matter, but you have what's called your loadout in terms of your equipment load. So light, medium, and heavy, and these are all going to impact both your dodge and how much damage you do overall. Right now I'm in a current heavy build, and you can see the various different costs and advantages and disadvantages. So outgoing healing is decreased by 30% when I'm in heavy, but outgoing healing is increased by 30% when I'm in light gear as well. So you can see here listing what is going to make the most sense for you and your build, and you can see how you're weighted based off of your pieces of gear. When you hover over a piece of gear, it will tell you if it's light, medium, or heavy, and that is going to help kind of define your build itself whenever you're kind of playing. There are not loadouts, there are not gear sets yet in this game. That is apparently on the roadmap, and hopefully we'll have that for you as well. Equipping various different bags increases your inventory. Inventory is weighted based off of weight. Once you hit the weight cap, you become encumbered, which slows you down. So it'd be highly encouraged to either drink an encumbrance potion at that point to overall reduce that, or upgrading your bags ends up being a very value driven thing for you as well. I would always recommend, at least as you're playing the game, skinning and harvesting ends up being 2 things that you might do a lot of. These are really good skills just as you're running around the world to have tools for, and you can get different tools of different things, and you can always want to pay attention to those perks and what they offer you as well. When it comes to the game though, I've seen a lot of people thinking that this is a forced PvP game. Currently, I am not flagged for PvP. You do not need to flag for PvP. You're not forced to do PvP in this game. I personally enjoy it, but let's talk about the different PvP systems that you have available for you. You have 2 modes. Outpost Rush is currently a level 60 end game style or level cap style piece of content. 3v3 Arena kicks off at level 20. Now, Outpost Rush will be the first up that offers cross-server play, which I think will help alleviate and help smaller servers out in the long run with their health and their population. For the 3v3 Arena, it kicks off at level 20. It has not yet been shared when we'll see this with cross-server play, but it has level bands starting at level 20, going 20, 30, 40, 50, and ultimately 60 that are all at play in this regards. There's various different rewards. 3v3 is just that arena mode, and Outpost Rush is 20v20 as well. You do have a couple things going on. You can have open world PvP if you flag, and if you are flagged for PvP, it will turn on what's your faction influence. When you level and play through the game, you get to pick a faction, much like you can within Final Fantasy XIV with the various grand companies. With these factions, you fight for control over the different lands, and ultimately there's wars that decide if they are able to capture and defend the zone themselves. And so the war is a mode that you can kind of participate in, and you'll see essentially what's happening in the different areas. For Brightwood, there's an upcoming war. You can see upcoming invasion. Invasion is like a PvE kind of mode. War is a PvP mode in which, the activities then happen and you can participate in them as well. If you don't want to see faction influence when you're not flagged for PvP, it's not a zone, you don't have to worry about it. But let's say you want to get into a group and you want to do some kind of content. When you're playing a game, as you discover the various different expeditions, you think about them as their dungeons, a expedition in this game is not a guaranteed win for you. You're not going to queue up and just get a party that's just going to roll through the content, especially level 60. But that's okay. There's going to be a lot of different rewards that open up that you actually unlock even while you're playing through the expedition itself. But let's say you want to find a group. There's not matchmaking in New World. I think this is a really good thing for the game overall because it allows them to do a lot of different things. There are no keys. When this game launched, there used to be keys that said you had to have a key to open up the expedition. Now you have a couple of things. You have regular expeditions that you can do per day. You get 25 per day, and I don't think I've ever done more than 5 per day specifically, but you get 25 per day, and then ultimately you get, I think it's like 25 per week. You can let me know if I have that wrong for the mutated versions. New World offers what's called the mutation system, and you can see that listed here on the screen as well. So if I just pull that up for y'all, a mutation rotates each and every week. You'll see the symbol that adds modifiers that make it more challenging. So right now, Dynasty Shipyard and Lazarus Shrine are mutated. If I pull those up as well, finding a group, you have to have beaten the regular mode, and then you start to unlock the various different mutations, which gives you more of a challenge, so to speak. So if let's say you want to find a regular group, find group, you can see the different groups that are listed, what roles they're looking for, or you can create your own lobby and you can say what you're specifically looking for. So if I was going to come as a healer and I don't want to necessarily recruit for a second healer, I can do so in that regards, and people can end up ultimately joining, and then you can jump into the content itself as well. So that's essentially kind of how it's different from Final Fantasy in terms of it. There's no matchmaking, but the dungeons offer a different and wild challenge. And I always say dungeons, or we say expo dungeons, just kind of memeing on the fact that they're called expeditions, but everybody just calls them a dungeon. And it's when the devs talk about it in terms of their updates, which they've kind of put together a monthly update, a monthly live letter, if you will, about what is coming to the game and what they're working on. They have to put money into some kind of jar if they use the word dungeon, because it's obviously on that aspect. Now, New World has a player-driven economy. So let's say if you're not getting the drops or the loot that you want, you can always come and buy and sell items. There's not vendors that you sell items to. So you're going to want to come in here and find and list items to sell. Let's say I wanted to sell this pure solvent. I can see various different buy orders, meaning someone's already put up the money and they are looking to buy, in this case, 8,000 of these. So I could sell pure solvent for 13.13 gold each, or I could go and choose to sell it for myself and try to make a difference. You usually kind of want to look at what people are selling it for on the market and what people are willing to pay for it on the market as well. If you do use the markets, be careful, because let's say you wanted to list something for sale and you wanted to sell it, you might end up not making enough. So here, if I was just going to list one and I'm going to sell it for 11, it's going to cost me $3 or 3 gold, 3.72 gold just to sell this one. Now that's where you want to be able to push this up all the way. And you can see the listing fee changes. I would highly encourage either putting in a lower listing so you can save a little bit on your fee, because these things might turn around fairly quickly. So kind of pay attention to that. The other thing you have available for you is you have the ability to salvage various pieces of gear. So if I wanted to start just breaking down all these blue, I can hold down the control and the C key and I can start to salvage any items. There's going to be a chance that you get a perfect salvage, and what the salvaging system does is it basically is kind of like vendoring this gear that you might not sell on the market. You could spend some time trying to see if you wanted to sell any of this gear on the market, but I highly encourage you also to lock specific gear that you're looking for, like in this case my Fierce Fisherman's hat, so that way you don't accidentally salvage it on that. Now if you just hold the C key and you don't do control, it will prompt you and say, hey, are you sure you want to go ahead and salvage this? You can then say confirm. That's why I usually do a control C, so that way I can kind of salvage things much faster in the long run. That's going to feed you with some gold. That's going to feed you with repair materials, in which that you keep all your material, all your gear and things like that rocking and rolling. And without further ado, we talked about PvP. We talked about so much of this game. So if you have questions, if there's things that you want to know that this video didn't answer, sound off in the comments. We can make this a series, really diving into the things that I think that are important for you to know, for you to help get started in this game. It's a pretty big game. It's a pretty massive game. One of the things that, if you guys want to know more, you want to get a part of the community, check out the Discord. And that's going to wrap it up for me, guys. I hope you guys something good. I think that's all the notes that I wanted to hit on for this one. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Hopefully I will see you in my next video, but until then, take care.